Yo, what up, what up? Peace and love, family. Beat out the guy checking in. I thought I kind of already touched on this avocado situation on Twitter, but I guess people want me to go in a little more depth and detail and articulate my viewpoints, I guess, more so, verbally. So here we go. Let me start off by saying Avocado's been nothing but generous and a good person to me throughout the years. For the past 3 or 4 years, we've been working together professionally. I dropped my EP last year, Coming Forth by Day with J.R. Swifts. I dropped it in collaboration with Ruin Your Day. He shot Grand Rising. We just did a dope video, for my record, Change, which was featured on the Ruin Your Day mixtape. So, Avocado's been nothing but a dope person to me, to Geechee, to everybody over here on the West Coast. He's definitely overextended himself countless times. So I want to start there. You know what I'm saying? Just as far as his character and what type of person he is to us professionally and friendship-wise. However, so the video comes out and I hit him up immediately and I'm like, yo, this is all bad, bro. Like, and I need your apology, like, ASAP. And he was like, yeah, I'm working on the video. I seen the video. That apology video wasn't it for me. So then we spoke on the phone, and I expressed to him what I expressed on Twitter, and I'll expound upon it again right now, is that I believe white people to be inherently racist due to culture and due to some other things that is more of an in-depth conversation that's going to take more time to really express. But we'll just stay there. Due to white American culture, I think racism is embedded in white American culture. White culture worldwide, actually, European culture. Let's say that. Racism is embedded in European culture. And so I think that these people get raised that way. And so what I was expressing to Avocado when we spoke on the phone is that he needs to be real about that aspect of this, because it's a wider, bigger conversation to have when we just talk about white culture and white people in general. So that's still how I feel. Right? And so what's fucking me up about this Avo situation is that because I've always known white people to be inherently racist, you still get this feeling of like, nah, we can have a couple allies here and there, you know what I'm saying? So I looked at him as an ally, I look at him as an ally, but it's hard now to analyze him as a person because of what we saw, because you're not there 24/7, when things are being said, behind closed doors. So I can't vouch for that. You know what I'm saying? I can't vouch, because that clip that we all saw as black people, for us, that was more so like, okay, this is how they talk when we're not around. And for me, 6 years ago is not a long time. 6 years ago, I'm 35. Avocado got to be around my age. I believe Avocado to be my age, 35, 36. So 6 years ago, he was 29, 30. So I have a hard time, or you're not going to convince me that at 30 years old, you didn't understand that it wasn't cool to be racist, and you didn't have enough information about black people to come to a better conclusion at that age. We're not talking about a young, dumb teenager running around, grew up in white culture and doesn't know no better. We're talking about a 30-year-old man, 29, 30-year-old man at that time. So that's what I'm struggling with personally, because this is a personal friend of mine. So my analyzation of Kyle at this point is still under review. You know what I'm saying? Just to be completely honest with y'all, I'm still like analyzing it like, yo, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So I shouldn't be shocked though, because again, I believe white people to be inherently racist. I do. I genuinely do. I haven't met one white person that hasn't showed some sort of racism at a certain point. I believe it's a threshold, and it's just a time and place. Whenever that racism is going to show itself, it may be minuscule, and it may be a big deal, but it's there. I believe it to always be there. And this is just another prime example. And I guess that's why I'm so upset, because it's another prime example of the fact that racism is always there within these white folks, and it just surfaces itself at some point. So I have to weigh that against my relationship with him for the past 3 or 4 years. But it's tricky, though, because I have to ask myself, okay, so this was racist behavior 6 years ago, and the other bitch-ass dude, 24/7, use a mark. We're not even going... But it's expected from white folks that I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just a white dude, so I already know, like, how it is. But with Avo, it's a little different because I know him, so it stings a little different. But my issue is, it's only 6 years ago, and it was prior to Avo working with URL. So that's why I'm conflicted, because it's like, okay, so you didn't start really understanding black people and black culture and respecting us until you started working with URL. And so, I don't know, man. I'm conflicting on whether this is purely professional and purely just to have a seat in the culture, or if it's genuinely, you know, who he is, and over time he's grown to be this different person. But let's keep it all the way funky. I don't have time for that shit. I don't have time to figure that out. And black people, we don't have time to figure that shit out. That's why when I was asked to do a sit-down meeting, you know, I talked to Geechee about it. At first I say, cool, but then I rethought it, and I'm like, nah, fuck that, because black people don't have time to sit down and figure out how white people feel about us. We don't have that time and that luxury. Fuck that. And first of all, let me be clear. Black people don't need allies. If we have allies, that's cool, but we don't need y'all. That's why it's easy. And this is what I told Avo, and this is what I told Clayton. Clayton is another member of Ruin Your Day, who's a good friend of mine as well. When I spoke to Clayton, I told him this specifically. We don't need you guys. So when you guys show a chink in your armor, it's easy to dismiss you now because we never needed you in the first place. Let's be clear. Black people don't need allies. Is it cool to have allies? Cool. But we don't need allies. You know, we can get this shit done ourselves when fighting racism, white supremacy. We don't need allies. It'd be cool to have them, but we don't need them. So that's why I was asked to do a sit-down roundtable meeting and shit. And at first I agreed, but then I reneged on that because I'm like, I'm not going to sit down. And who's the audience? I'm not going to sit down in front of black people, right? I'm not going to sit down in front of black people and tell them, hey, Avo's a good dude, trust me. Like, no. Hey, baby, what's up? I'm talking on the camera right now, and this is dope because I'm with my kids 24/7. So I don't want to hear no shit about black fathers. My children's right here on my hip. Anybody that know me know that. Besides the point. So I'm not going to sit down in a setting to talk to a black audience to tell them Avocado's a good dude. Trust me, Avocado's a good dude. And I'm not doing that. Black people, you have every right to feel however you want to feel when you see racist bullshit. It doesn't matter from 6 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You have the right. Don't let nobody ever convince you that you don't have the right to be upset and to cancel or not fuck with that person. You have every right, because black people, we have gone through too much in this country, too much throughout history. I study African history, so I can take it all the way back to the invasions that went down in Africa and show you how this race war has been happening for centuries and centuries. But let's just keep it in this country and in this climate that we're currently in. We know what we facing. We know the bullshit we go through. We need to focus on us. We need to focus on how to defeat white supremacy. We don't have this time and this luxury. So I'm not going to sit up in a panel and try to talk to a black audience, to black battle rap culture, hip hop audience, and try to convince them that Avocado's a good dude. They don't have to feel that way. They saw the video, and that's all they need. Because black people, we don't need to be fucking always forgiving and always, you know, and this is me talking. I'll say this, within the battle rap culture, I'm probably the closest to Avocado outside of Geechee. Me and Geechee are the two closest to Avocado. We do the most work with him. We pull up on him and do watches and all that. We're the closest to him. And I'm saying this to you, bro. Because you know me, man. It ain't no cuts. It ain't no filter. I'm going to keep it all the way funky. Avocado is a friend of mine, and I'm still saying this to you. What's wrong, baby? So what I'm saying to you is I'm not going to sit here and be the buffer for Avocado and black culture. I'm not sitting down and doing that. Fuck that. Black people, you saw that shit. However you feel, I'm with you. I rock with however you feel because we are entitled to that feeling because we've been through too much shit in this country to ever fucking, you know, turn the blind eye to racism or turn the other cheek and all that soft ass shit. Y'all have every right to be furiated and frustrated with Avocado. You have every right to be. And don't let nobody convince you otherwise. And I'm definitely not going to be the nigga to try to convince you otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Where we go from here as a culture, that's up to us collectively. But right now in this moment, I'm telling you personally, I'm not going to be that guy to try to convince you otherwise. Fuck that. That video was fucking just, man, that video had me livid, had me hot, bro. And so on the other hand, I'm not gonna talk to try to convince black people or anything, and I don't give a fuck about that white audience to try to talk to them about, you know, racism and how they can grow out of racism like Avocado did. I'm not doing that either. I have no fucking care about that crowd of battle rap, that white crowd of battle rap, which, by the way, that whole conversation that Avo and 24/7 had is a reflection of this white culture that y'all let into battle rap. And I'm saying y'all, because I wasn't around during this time. Every time I get into a battle, I speak my mind about these white folks in battle rap and the bullshit that goes on within our culture when y'all let guests in and they don't act accordingly. You know what I'm saying? I'm very vocal about that. You can check my track record. You can watch my battles. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that conversation is reflective of the white culture and battle rap and how they feel. And I'm just like, how the fuck? It's our shit. It's our culture. This hip hop arose out of marginalization and disenfranchisement from being economic disparity, oppressed. That's how we created this culture called hip hop, to speak our mind. So no fucking white person, not a single white person, can come into this culture and speak on anything. You can't tell me what this culture is or what it isn't and who shouldn't, and you can't break down no bars. No. White folks, no. You can't say, if you're white, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're white, you can't say shit to me about hip hop culture, you can't break down no bars, you can't critique nothing. It's not your culture. You're a guest. That's like walking into a Mexican family's house and critiquing their tacos. Get the fuck out of here. You're a guest. You're a guest in my culture, in our culture that our ancestors built back in the 70s and what have you. You are a fucking guest. So I don't want to speak to that crowd neither, because that's really the crowd, right? Let's just keep it funky, man. And that's always been my issue with that whole thing, because it's that white, King of the Dot-ish crowd. And no disrespect to King of the Dot as a staff or as an organization, but that's just the facts of the matter, that's that crowd. That's that fucking, black battle rappers and, all they do is talk about gun bars and all they shoot them. I hold my people accountable because that's what I could do, because they my brothers. You white, you can't say shit about our culture, period. So I'm not interested in having no sit down roundtable discussion with Avocado and the people, because again, for one, it's going to be me trying to convince black people that he's a good guy. I'm not doing that. Black people, you have every right to feel how you feel. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. And for two, I don't have any, I don't want to talk to a white crowd and talk about how to work through racism and unity and all this bullshit. I'm not with that either, because we don't have time for that, especially not right now in this climate in 2020 and everything that's going on. So, in conclusion, my personal relationship with Avo is a work in progress, and I will continue to try to, whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's just the conversation that I have to have with him, and until I analyze fully the situation and come to my, whatever resolve or my decision personally. But as a culture, as a community, as a people, where I stand on that is that's some racist bullshit. And we should expect it from white folks, unfortunately. I believe white people to be inherently racist, and I'm not going to ever waver on that stance. And however we feel as a community and however we feel as a people, that's just what it is. It ain't no fucking, it ain't no vouching, it ain't no nothing. That's just what it is. However we feel as a community, that's just what the fuck it is. Period. Bottom line. And I'm done with this topic. I got babies to raise. I got music to work on. I got battles to prepare for. That's it. Peace and love.